Hi, welcome everybody to Kissing the Cod. I'm Janet Sheriff, and I'm very happy today to welcome our next guest in the latest episode, Mr. Jeff Swinoga, CEO and Director of Exploits Discovery. Welcome, Jeff.
Well, thanks, Janet. It's a real pleasure to be on Kissing the Cod. I got to say, I've been listening in, and I've been learning lots about other people, and I think you're doing a great job. So thanks for having me on.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm learning a lot too, and I'm excited to find out more about both yourself and exploits. Mm-hmm. I have to admit, I'm a shareholder. I've been following you for a while, and like the company. But why don't you just first start off by telling us a little bit about yourself? You're new to the job in this fiscal year, correct?
Yeah, so I joined in September last year, and a bit about myself. I've got 3 kids. Grew up in Brampton, Ontario, home of Wayne Gretzky, and just got an economics degree, MBA. Just got to work very hard. First joined Barrick back in 1998, and everyone thought it was crazy. Why join a mining company when everything's going virtual? And but I got to it really opened up my eyes to the rest of the world, because I was doing a couple project financings for Peter Monk, and got to go to Argentina, got to go to Africa, and different cultures, different languages, different views of and lifestyles, and the severe poverty you saw in Africa, and different things. So it was good, actually. And after I got to see my dad's hometown, because he was born there. He was actually born at the base of Kilimanjaro. And they were displaced during the war, World War II. So they went to a Russian labor camp, and they escaped and went to Tanzania, and that's where they got. That's where my dad was born. So anyway, it's a long story, but they went to the British Navy, rescued them, went to London, and then they moved to Brampton, Ontario. And that's where where my boring life started. But no, it was interesting, and I think listening to the stories, getting my uncle used to talk about in the war, and I just, after hearing what they went through, I think I'm a very optimistic person, a very positive person, because it's just a very, very dramatic and traumatic, and but anyway, it's all good. And then, I worked at Barrick for 7 years, then moved to Winnipeg to join Hudbay Minerals. It just became public, which was great. All the base metals were going up, so that was a very, very good situation. We loved Winnipeg, but the job moved back to Toronto, so we settled in Oakville. Then had various jobs with North American Palladium up in Thunder Bay, and that was a great opportunity. Worked for Golden Star for projects in Ghana. Worked at Torex Gold, building a project in Mexico. It was tough. That was really, in terms of difficult locations, the company went through a lot, kidnappings and shuts down. We had a lot of situations we had to deal with, but built the project on time and on budget, which was great. Then became CEO of First Mining, so worked with Keith Neumeyer for a while. Then became the national mining leader for Ernst & Young. So did that for about almost 3 years. And then I was kind of looking for an opportunity to get back into the mining sector. And so it was just a great situation to say, well, I get to visit Newfoundland, get to work in the province, work with some great individuals. That's what kind of got me back into the mining, and Eric, like many investments, he owns 20% of our company. Newfoundland owns 12% of us. So it's just a great situation, and I'm really happy to get back into the sector. Yeah.
Well, I had no idea your family history, your parents. That utterly fascinating story. They must be incredibly industrious. I can't even describe what the challenges they've gone through. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no, it's to go back there. And, he's born in a town called Tenure, which is that base of Kilimanjaro. And at the age of 5, that's when I guess they're known as refugees, of course, and the local tribe there started to get a little more hostile, and there was a lot of violence because, of course, refugees were taking resources from the locals because they're trying to survive. And that's why the British Navy had to come in to rescue them. But yeah, it was tough. Like my dad worked in the factories in Brantford because he had to make a living and support us. And the factories started shutting down in Brantford. Worked for Massey Ferguson's and Fruhoff and White Farm Equipment. And every 2 or 3 years, my dad was home out of a job. But they survived. Like they're like, to your point, Jen, I kind of look back as they're survivors, and there's lots of different degrees of surviving. But I mean, I don't know if that's affected me in terms of work ethic. But we all work very hard, and we only have so many years on this earth, and so we want to make an impact. So that's like the way I view life. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's the word, survivors, and to endure everything and then get to a point where your family is able to prosper in a very safe country. It must be very gratifying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel very lucky to be where we are and to be in a place like Canada or North America, if you will. So anyway, just feel very blessed that way. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And a career that has taken you from Argentina to Africa to all the way back to Canada and into another very friendly environment, great place to work, certainty, must also be rewarding for you as well.
Oh, it's interesting. When I first got approached about joining Exploits Discovery, I wanted to go to Gander, and so it was first St. John's, and then went to Gander, and just met some of the guys in the team, and just salt of the earth, just great guys, and I just felt like it was the right thing. Like we all want to work with good people, and we have fond memories of the teams we belong with and how we accomplished adversity and shared success, and I felt like this is the group of individuals and people, and like you mentioned, like everyone's very supportive. That I want to be associated with. So when we look back and hopefully, we discover our first gold discovery and good things happen. But I hopefully I look back and say this is the team that did it, and this is how we work together. And so anyway, I was just very happy about what I saw, and this is why I decided to join. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to get into exploits, but I want to first kind of go back. Like in 98, when you went to work for Barrick, what was it? Obviously you had a lot of opportunities ahead of you. Why mining? What was it that at a time when you shouldn't have gone into it, you went into it?
That's a great question. I'm not sure if I even know myself. I do know, and this, going back a bit, that my parents did win, was it second prize in the 649 lottery back in the 80s, and my dad went out and bought a whole bunch of gold. and he brought it back to the kitchen table, and he says, you want to see some gold, Jeff? I'm like, okay, just a teenager, and he shows it to me, and we took it out of the plastic packages and looked at it, and I don't know if that really had an impact on me, but it was, they didn't win a lot of money, but they won something like 10 grand or something, and he bought some gold with it. But then I guess when the opportunity came up to work for a mining company, and to work for your first mining company, and to be someone like Barrick, I guess it said, here's an opportunity, and honestly, it was an opportunity to work on several projects and work with some good people. And Barrick, much like other companies like Placer Dome and many different Newmont, you can mention them, but it's a very good training ground, because you do get to work with great individuals. They have the infrastructure, they have the funds to work on multiple different projects, and so I just felt it was really good to work hard and to learn a lot. And every time I take on a challenge, there's an aspect of learning and of course contributing, of course, making a significant contribution. But it was a really good opportunity, And yeah, I got a lot of things thrown at me because gold was at $280 an ounce back in 1998, and it was going down to 200. And everyone's like, "What have you done, Jeff?" And so, but it was good. Built some projects with them, and yeah, it was great. I really like Barrick.
Nice. When you talk about gold at 250, that's what it was when you went into it?
280, yeah.
280.
And that's the thing too, Jet. Like back then, there was only about 85 people in the head office at Barrick. So you think of Barrick being this kind of like massive company, but back then, like it was a small group, and of course they had Gold Strike and other projects, but it was a very small head office. So it was the scope of what you could see in that office was quite good.
Yeah. And the environment for gold has changed significantly since then. So you must be happy with your decision.
Oh, yeah, actually, and this is where, when I think about, I'll probably hopefully be around for the next 10, 15 years and still working hard. But when I look at the mining sector, and I know, Janet, you've done a lot of great work, and when we look at the branding of mining in people's eyes who are not in mining, one thing that really affected me was probably about 3 or 4 years ago. We were looking at a branding consultant talked about the brand of mining being almost the same as tobacco. And so, nothing against the tobacco industry, but I guess I when I finish off my career, I want my kids to look at my career in mining as a very positive one, because you and I have both seen the impact that can have on reducing poverty levels around a mine site, or creating communities or supporting communities like Flin Flon, Manitoba, with Hudbay and others that you can name. I'm sure 1,000, but it's a way where you don't find mines in cities, but you find them outside, of course, and the way to support the local communities is just, and there are always stories that things don't go well sometimes, and a lot of lessons learned and for next time, but there are a lot of very positive stories that I've been hearing and associated with that, and when you talk to First Nations and others, that and the work that it creates to keep people home, and going back to Newfoundland and Labrador, the greater goal here too is, beyond the company, is really just to create opportunities that hopefully for generations will benefit. And if I could be 82 years old looking back and saying I helped that, and just contribute and along the way, much like you're doing with your association, I think I'd be a very happy person.
Yeah, I owe my involvement in this sector to the women in Ross River, which is a Kaska Nation community. And, they taught me so much about what mining could do to bring wealth and stability and healthy communities together. And they learned it because it was done wrong. But they saw in myself, just similar to yourself, somebody that wants to do it right, and doing it right is for the shareholders and for the community. And it's we all come in different ways, but I truly think mining is the best industry to create wealth, opportunities for businesses, jobs in rural Canada. There's nothing that has that sustainable and transferable skills. So I'm happy you made the choice you did. So you're also on the PDAC board, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Prospectors and Developers of Canada. I should not always use the acronym. And how long have you been on the board?
Well, I guess I was more of a junior board member last year. So when I got elected, it was a 1-year term, and this year, even though I'm quite busy, I decided to run again and throw my hat in, and got elected for 3 years. So, and it helps me to, again, just going back and giving back and contributing to the overall industry and how we can do things better and educate others as to the benefits that mining can bring. And because you see it around your household, all the metal that in your cars and everything else. So it's just mining is improving, and it's really, creating, not creating, but, creating that awareness of what is happening on the ground. Because a lot of a lot of the stories that you hear never get told about, how it's paid for kids' education, how were so happy to get their first job at the mine site, and now they're running the mine, and it's just great to see it. So PDAC allows me to, hopefully continue and to do work for the industry and overall and contribute. Yeah.
Nice. So let's exploits discovery. Now, exploits is named after a region in Newfoundland, correct?
That's right. That's it. The exploits subzone. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about exploits.
Sure. Yeah. So, and what attracted me to exploits was, again, great sponsors and shareholders in Underexplored and Newfound Gold. And then just the land package they have. It's one of the largest and I believe one of the most strategic land positions around Newfound Gold. We've got land to the north of them, land to the south, and then it's well funded. Right now we've got about $12 million in cash, and we're embarked upon a number of field programs focused on the north this year. We did some drilling last year, and then learned a lot from that drilling. And the company, when it first started out, there was a lot of euphoria. The whole Newfoundland gold rush, and I think it's going to be building a lot of steam going forward. But it was great situation, and and it all comes down to, I think we've got some really good local people there doing work, and also hiring a lot of the contractors too, like Stockleys and Quinlan's and others, Planet X we're using right now, and Gary, learning about guys like Gary Lewis and Nick Rodway who helped start getting the land package and accumulating the positions we have. So it's so early, and when you think about going back to some place like the Abitibi, which is legendary for finding gold, and to think that we're probably in the first 10 years of what an Abitibi could look like. And, you think 50 years from now or 10 years from now, or it's going to be just growing. And honestly, just people like Peter Dimmel have been a great source of history of what's happened in the province and how we're constantly learning new things. Like, you never thought there's lithium in the province, and there is, and rare metals is coming out. So it's still early days. And to be part of that early day story is what I found in exploits discovery. We're positioning it to, of course, focus on the science and hopefully make our first gold discovery soon. Yeah. So
just for a visual, and we can put up a map to help people if they're watching, but a lot of excitement generated because of Newfound Gold and their discovery, and exploits came in very early, a lot earlier than companies that have since followed. Obviously, if you came in earlier, there before them.
Yeah.
Brilliant statement, Janet. But where are you in proximity to Newfound Gold?
Yeah, so if you maybe look at your hand and you've got the Keats sort of right in the middle, that's the Newfound Gold's big first gold discovery that kind of propelled them to $1 billion company. And they found a few more. They found the Keats North and Lotto and along sort of this Appleton Fault, which is kind of like running north-south through the province. And then if you go further north, that's where we sort of have our claims. And we've got sort of, if you want to think of like branches of a tree, we kind of branch out a bit to the north, and to the south, we kind of branch out a bit as well. And Labrador Gold is there as well, just north of Newfound Gold. So that's kind of like how we're positioned. And so we've got over 30 kilometers on that Appleton Fault, the famous fault where, Keats and Lotto and Big Vein are. And then also we have claims with the Valentine Fault. So that kind of, trends sort of that northeast. So we've got lots of great intersections of structure. And and usually the main veins, as you know, don't really have the gold that's a tertiary or secondary veins to the side where the pressure drops and the heat drops, and then there it gets, gold gets precipitated or dropped into these more brittle structures. So we're very fortunate to have positions around Newfound Gold and also along the Appleton and some of the major faults there.
Yeah, and then I keep hearing, to the Appleton and Valentine Lake Shear Zone, and a lot of talk about what's going on in different areas of the island, but it's early, as you say, and what I see is there's a lot of knowledge being acquired by a number of different companies and a lot of information sharing because local resources and local contractors and prospectors. So it's happening quickly in an environment that really has been very underexplored, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And, I like to say, and it takes a village to have a gold discovery, because when it's great to get lucky, but, I think a lot of these companies are planning to discover. And to your point about, sharing information, it's very collegial. Beyond ourselves, I'd love to see others just have another Keystone, another big gold discovery, become another billion-dollar company. And then we will just keep learning, because in the early days, we want the whole province to benefit. I mean, we have shareholders and stakeholders that will benefit from exploit discovery, and we're working definitely very hard on that. And so I guess it's one of the things when I sort of took the helm, I really just said, let's focus on the science and who are the great academics out there. And of course, there's Dr. David Groves, and then there's Richard Goldfarb, who've written a lot of papers. And so Richard was tied up, so we were talking. So we, and David was on our advisory committee, and so I started having talks with David every week, just saying, and he was explaining to me about what he saw, and then I got involved with the team and had him do presentations, and then of course we're still using Goldspot, which is great, and our key representative at Goldspot was a former VP of Exploration for Newfound too. So Peter McIntyre knows there extremely well, and then so the way I like to think of it is that you've got sort of this Dr. David Rhodes written 500 research papers, and I think he actually coined the term orogenic gold, and he's just a great individual. He's sort of like the kind of a very regional perspective, and so hand draws on maps, and then you've got sort of the gold spot with the high technology and AI and data analytics, and then you've got our local team that is doing great and ground truthing, and you sort of triangulate everything. And so when things start working out in one area, one opportunity becomes more prominent, and it makes sense from various different perspectives, and the lithology's there and the host rock. So I guess maybe just going on that point, Jen, what we've created earlier this year is we call it Exploration 2.0. Our founding document.
I was going to ask you about that. I'd heard about that.
Yeah, and so I think this was on the back of the drilling and some of the academic research that we've been really involved in with, and also talking to great guys in the government like Hamish and Jerry, sort of again a great source of information about how we can improve things, and so we call it Exploration 2.0 because we really stepped back and said, what is a document that's going to, what are the key things that are important that helped Newfound and Lab and others just had their gold discovery. So it's almost like a scorecard. But we created a 200-slide presentation. We had a closed-door session with a number of key geologists in the province and walked them through it. We walked Eric Sprott through it too, and a lot of positive feedback came back. And so we kind of feel this document will be, it will evolve over time, year by year as we learn more. But it really helps us because when you look at the land position we have, and lots of companies have lots of land. It's just sort of how you triage it, how do opportunities rise to the top. So we've been creating these sort of scorecards And then the scorecards have to have a certain aspects of, fluid flow, and does it have the right angle? Sometimes we have less competent rock moving over competent rock, and there's a lot of criteria that goes in the scorecard, and then there's a ranking system. So if you look at if we rank Keats and Big Vein on the scorecard, of course they get 10 out of 10. And then some of the new targets we have on Dog Bay, the Appleton Fault, scoring 7, 8, and there's some question marks. So we're doing some follow-up work this year with soils and and other programs to fill in those question marks and whether those rise to the top. And then we have and then if we apply the newer methodology we have to some of the older targets that we drilled, of course, they don't score as well. And so that's because we want to make sure that we're being objective in looking at it. We want to make sure that we're not saying what we're doing makes a lot of sense. And then because if it doesn't make sense, then we just need to do more field work or to go back to some of the regional aspects. So some of these targets are really moving forward, which is nice. But time will tell. And of course, we have to do assays, and we will be drilling coming up. We haven't made a drilling announcement yet, but we plan to do drilling this year. But really, that's hopefully the view from the company is we're planning to be successful, and we're following the plan. So,
I've never come across this scorecard type of approach before. It's really interesting. And where did that come from?
I like to think that I came in with this grand plan, but as and this I think goes back to our comments about the early days and how as you learn about the geology and what works, what hasn't worked, and we looked at examples like we looked at Abitibi, we looked at Yukon, we looked at Australia. And the more I learned about, these orogenic flows coming up from the Moho, Australia is very advanced. And there was at one point we were really focused on an annual or 4-year program where we were going to find out which one is the deepest fault. Is it Appleton or others? And led by some professors at Munn University, and that's still ongoing. So that still hopefully will happen. But again, it would kind of hopefully open up provincially some of where's the source of these flows, which would be great. So as I got into learning a lot about the science and listening to a lot of the great information that was out there, it kind of led to, okay, what are the key items that we need to look for? Because sometimes, you get quartz, you get visible gold, and everyone gets excited, and then everything seems to triangulate, and then you drill it, and guess what? Not much came out of it. So really, so there had to be more to it. So that's why we kind of went back to this idea of like, okay, it's got to have multiple check marks on certain things, and fine have question marks, and then is it worth the resources and the funds to spend that money to move a target up? And so everyone's urgently trying to have their next gold discovery. So we just felt with the information that was available to us that we had to sort of create this systematic approach to looking at some of the targets we have.
Yeah. So the objective of the scorecard, because I really like this, is to. It's kind of that policy geek in me, right?
Yeah.
It's just to move targets up, so you're keeping the best land package possible, and so the goal at the end is to have the best targets maintained that are going to deliver a potential economic deposit. Yeah,
that's right, Janet. And so when I think of it, it's almost like a pipeline. When you think about here, it's some of the near-term drill targets. Here are some of the targets that need more work to be done, whether it's trenching, till, soils, and then you've got other targets that are outcrops and that the guys have found and they're excited about it, but they only have maybe 2 or 3 check marks, and you go, okay, let's not get too excited about those over here. We still have these to focus on. but I guess some of these target maybe on the ground in the field work could move up very fast, but it just when you have a team, and I like to say we've got an infinite team and infinite resources, but we have to sort of make sure that we're allocating the right resources to the right target, and making sure that we're focused on it. Because we, like most exploration companies in the province, we do want to have a gold discovery as soon as possible. Yeah, however, we want to minimize the amount of misses, if you will, and so this helps us to stay focused on what's the most near-term opportunity. But having said that, if that one doesn't work out, there's always the one that we can hopefully move up. And if that one doesn't work out, then we go back. So it's like this.
It's a pipeline.
It's a pipeline. Yeah.
And you're building a pipeline, so you have multiple projects. So it's a multi-year. You're not a single project focus. And you're going to have advanced. That's the way I'm kind of looking at it. Down the road, you have advanced projects, and you're always bringing along new projects down to follow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. So we'll only publicly talk about maybe a couple at a time, because to come out and say we've got 30 targets or 50 targets, and okay, it's just a bit confusing to people. So it's really just here the ones we think are the most prominent and are worth getting attention, and then as you know, so we'll go through them, and it takes time and effort, that's what we're doing. Yeah,
I like it. It's very strategic. Which I like. One of the questions that keeps coming up, and I appreciate your perspective on it, is Newfoundland just was underexplored for so long. And I've heard a variety of different reasons. So, give me your take on why now? Like what happened to give us this great modern day opportunity?
Well, I think when you look at a lot of the work that's been done in the past, it's been mostly on base metals, and then now with again this gold rush with Newfound Gold and Keats, a lot of attention's kind of turned towards the province, and that attracted capital and attracted great people to work in the province, and also bring people back to the province that were working outside the province. So a lot of individuals are very happy to be working close to home or in Gander or other places. So I think it takes, I like to call it a people business, because, the gold's out there, but it takes people to be focused, it takes people to help raise the funds, it takes people to be on the ground. I was in Gander last week. We had a kind of a board site visit, and fought off the mosquitoes and went through the bogs, and so it's you have to really be tenacious and just persistent doing the field work. So I think why now? I think it's because I think people are realizing the potential here, and again the early days of Abitibi. And I'll never be considered one of the founders of this, but to be a sort of a contributor and to help to make an impact in the community in the province, I'm more than happy to do that. And so I think now is I just got such a good feeling about this, because there really hasn't been a focus historically, and we're allowed to we're allowed to do this work, and the people are focused, and the government's been great, and everyone's been supportive, and it's good. I know you probably share the same feeling. It's just it's a great feeling.
Yeah, and a lot of times we're talking about Newfoundland, but Labrador has been a very important part of the contribution to the treasury of the province, and opportunities for contracts and jobs. So I never want to forget them, but it's been something new that's really coming together nicely with the gold on the island. Now your trip, you just, I think you went iceberg watching?
Well, we only had so much time, so we did see a couple whales.
Yeah,
we saw a couple humpback whales, which was great. And actually, it was a beautiful day. So we got back from Gander and hopped on one of the local ships and went out to the Narrows and saw Signal Hill and saw a couple humpbacks, and then went to Cape Spear, and it was, the fog was there. So, and when the ship got blanketed with the fog, it gives you a real sense of, wow, this you really don't know where you are, right? but it was a good day, and we went back, and it was great. That the board was really happy about being out in the field and the excitement they saw at the local office. And it was interesting because when we first went to the local office, it was like all of our local guys just wanted to tell them what we were seeing and what we're doing, and so next time we do a site visit, we have to plan a couple hours in the Gander office to sort of do an orientation, and this is what we're doing, as opposed to just going right to the field. So it was good. No, it was really good. Really happy with the visit.
Nice. And you're lucky to see whales. So I grew up in Ottawa, and I remember when the fishing industry was a huge part of the economy and went through some difficult times. And it's an amazing place between the fishing history, logging, tourism, mining. Really good to see the potential for that wealth in the jurisdiction, and as you say, to be part of it. So humpbacks, those are the whales you saw?
Yeah, humpbacks, yeah.
Nice. And tourism, I hope, is doing a bit better this year now that people can come back. I think they're having a head home or a go home celebration as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm heading that way, so
good.
I'll be part of that rush. So this year at Exploits, you maybe just give us kind of a high level again what you're doing. I know people always want to ask about drilling, and you're so right to rush into that decision without the groundwork, which kind of isn't as exciting to many, but you save a lot of money and you save a lot of mistakes. But please, I don't want to keep talking.
Yeah, no. So for our programs this year, like, we're focused on the north. We've got Titan. We've got Titan South, which is on the Appleton. We've got Appleton North. We've got Titan proper, which is over to the east, and we've got a couple other targets that look very Deuter. It looks very exciting. So we're really focused on. So we're doing like a 100,000 soil sample program along that, and we're about 50% done. And what we've also done is I'm really big on using the local lab, and unfortunately they just got inundated last year, and we couldn't get our assays out for 5 to 8 months, and so it was tough to drill and then not see what was how the assays were coming through. So we went with another provider, and the turnaround time is supposed to be about 6 to 7 weeks. So we're very fortunate about that. So we had to sort of, we might go back to the local lab, but for now we just need to do that. And then and we did the geoscience alpha IP. We did that on Titan proper. So we're getting the results back soon. The guys have been in the field traversing. We're going up and down the Appleton Fault. They started going up and down the Valentine Fault. They come back and they see quartz there. There's a feeling of excitement, and we just had our weekly call, and of course the guys are seeing quartz and talking about that. But a lot of these could be just barren. You have to get the assay results back and then see where it leads you. And then with those new quartz finds, how do we follow up? Do we follow up with more soil sampling? Do we follow up with some tilling or some trenching? And so we are planning to drill. So we'll probably announce something in the next couple of weeks or a month or so about what we plan to drill and where we plan to drill it. But very, very conscious. Again, we're very fortunate to have $12 million in cash, but want to make sure that we're using it responsibly, because we do have near-term targets and want to make sure that we're doing that responsibly. And but I know once we hit our first gold discovery, it'll be how much do you want? how many drills you're putting on it, and it's going to be great. So yeah, it's going to be great. So very happy with the programs. We did beef up our staff a bit too. So we've hired another geologist, Mark Christian, who's turning out excellent, as well as Nick Ryan and Nate and Brad. So and Paul Delaney is great. So yeah, so the team is it's humming along and very excited.
Nice. And having Memorial University there also very important. Produces a lot of the team members throughout different companies. So I think we're all benefiting from not only Memorial, but the geological survey as well. Just some really solid work being done that we're all benefiting from.
Absolutely. And I got the chance to visit them in December before COVID broke out again. And so I got a tour with Greg Dunning and got to see what they're doing. And we sat down for a couple hours and, just the knowledge that they have. And they knew a lot about what each company was doing, what was incredible. And you supplement that with the governmental knowledge, like again, Hamish and Jerry and others. It's just, again, the local knowledge is so important, and they know the history as well. So that's been a tremendous benefit to us.
And the staff that they have at the Geological Survey, the different skill sets within geology, and the length of time that they've worked there, it all is contributing to great success and some phenomenal work. I have a sign I have to show you because I'm thinking.
Okay.
Hang on a second. I have to go get
Sure.
it. And then you can say what the sign is. So we decided to name our place where we live. Like, you know my husband Bill, right?
Oh yeah, Bill. Yeah, Bill's fantastic.
Bill. This is the name we've given our place.
Jadoteville? Jadoteville. Okay.
Yeah, Jadoteville in Africa, and there was a group of soldiers placed there by the United Nations, and they very similar situation to the one your parents were in, and they survived, and I think with only minimal deaths in the troop, and they were from Ireland, and recently were acknowledged. There was a movie about them, but they were recently acknowledged as being heroes. But for so long, their story was forgotten. So we decided that we needed to keep remembering them. I love the World War II generation. Best generation we have. Yeah,
that's a great sign, Janet, and a great recognition of the survivors. Going back to people who have gone through adversity and that's great.
Yeah, we both Bill and I have family that served, and I think they shape us, and I definitely think your parents shaped you. I think what you're doing is great, Jeff. I really do, and I wish you nothing but success. I'm looking forward to catching up after your season, and I'll keep my fingers crossed on your turnaround for your results, because they affected us all last year, but I think sounds like you've got a handle on it this year.
Oh, and I'm watching some other companies too. I wish them all the success, and I know with your company as well. So I think this is what makes the whole industry and for the province. I think they're so supportive, and the fact that we're all working well together and want each other to do well is a kind of a testament to just the great people we have in our sector, to be quite honest. Yeah.
When the tide rises, all boats float higher.
Yeah, that's right. Great.
Well, thanks so much, Jeff. I really enjoyed this today.
Yeah, me too.
And come back again and tell us more about your projects and about your family too.
Yeah, it's great. Well, thanks, Janet. It was a real pleasure.
Well, thanks. And thank you, everyone. Come back and join us again at Kissing the Cod.